Hey everybody, this is Brandon Ballantyne.
And this is Don King.
And welcome to another episode of Mobile Talk.
And today we're going to be talking about laptops versus mobile devices. Now this may seem old hat kind of because you figure these days everybody's going for mobile. But this kind of got sparked by a conversation that Brandon and I were having offline. I'm teaching a class this term, and I have noticed that I gave them permission to use their mobile devices. We've talked about how to use them effectively. So I don't want them on Facebook and all that kind of stuff. They seem to be honoring that. They're taking notes with it, and we'll talk in another episode about the whole thing of pen-based notes versus using a device.
That'll be a fun.
There's some studies that have come out about that, and we want to pick into those. But I'm figuring right now they're going to use them. So what I want to do is to try to focus them and help them to use it effectively. The interesting thing to me right now is that when they've got a choice of using an iPad, an Android tablet, whatever it might be, the ones that I can see are pulling out their laptops. So it seems that they prefer laptops versus mobile devices. So have you seen this? And
I've kind of noticed the same thing. They seem to prefer tablet versus laptop anyway. They prefer to work on laptops.
And when we're saying tablet, we're talking about iPad or what kind of Android tablets would there be?
I rarely see an Android tablet. I see the Microsoft Surface devices in classes a little bit, and a lot of iPads. But yeah, even then in the classes that I've taught, it's been mostly laptops. Laptops, and then the mobile devices that they prefer are the larger Android and iOS phones. But I don't see a lot of actual tablets from students' personal devices anyway.
Okay. Now we have been kind of putting tablets out in classrooms and things like that, but in terms of them using their own devices, maybe this is something for us to survey, because what I'm thinking is how many people have a tablet and choose not to use anything rather than to use the tablet.
And I wonder if it's that a tablet can't replace a laptop. You can do 80% of what you can do on a laptop on a tablet, maybe. So that means it's a third device. It's not a replacement for a laptop. It would be, laptop, tablet, smartphone. And I would guess a lot of students probably don't have the extra funds to have a third device with them,
or to add a keyboard,
right?
Because I know we've had a past episode when we were audio only, where we talked about some of the stuff that you can add, and I don't want to leave out the folks who are listening to us via audio, but for the folks who happen to be watching the YouTube, this is the little keyboard that I use with my iPad. And if I have to type much of anything on the iPad, I will pull that thing out. It's a Bluetooth iPad and use that rather than the on-screen keyboard. How much of that is a factor of people not using the tablets just because it doesn't have a keyboard?
I'll say for me, it was a big difference. Not too long ago, I bought one of the larger iPad Pros and the, what's the name of it? The Apple keyboard that comes with it or that you can buy with it. And that made the iPad Pro so much better in my eyes because I am not a good keyboard typist when it's software based. I like to feel the buttons go down. And I like a full size keyboard. I can't really work too well with the smaller Bluetooth keyboards. I need something regular size. I don't know that students would experience that because they haven't used a full size keyboard for 20 years.
And I wonder about that because here's my my iPad, and as we compare the keyboard, people who are seeing this on video, you can see that the keyboard is almost the same size as a laptop keyboard would be. Whereas
let me grab mine real fast.
Yeah. And while Brandon is getting that, if you've got a built-in case, the keyboard is still only going to be the width of the case. Although I have noticed there's at least one student in my class who has one of those cases that will prop up like this, and then there's a little keyboard in front of it, so it's built into the case. Yours with an iPad Pro, that's almost the size of a laptop.
It's just enough extra size to where I don't feel like I'm trying to type with 3 fingers. That I found I did that a lot with the smaller Bluetooth keyboards. I would it wasn't hunting and pecking, but it definitely wasn't, all my fingers on the keyboard with the same, words per minute that I would normally have. And this gets me a lot closer to it.
Okay, very good. Well, and one of the things we want to do is to start interacting more with you out there listening and watching. Let's invite you. We'll be telling you at the end of this how you can connect with us. And I'd like to ask you to tell us what your preference is and why. So we'll put that out there at the end of this episode. One of the things that also occurs to me, we were talking a little earlier, and maybe we'll get another episode of this at some point, with the increase in the use of styluses, people can actually effectively handwrite on a tablet. Will that make people suddenly start preferring the tablets as opposed to the keyboard? Or the current generation, have they just grown up using keyboards so much that they're going to want to keep using keyboards?
Yeah, I really like the stylus and have been a big fan of the Apple Pencil. But that's because when I was in high school and most of college, I took notes on paper. And so to me, that's just kind of a callback to when I was younger. I don't know that students today, especially ones right out of high school, I don't know that they ever experienced having to write on paper that much.
Yeah. I mean, we've been hearing for a while about how they don't even have to learn cursive anymore.
Right.
Well, there's a move to bring that back. So maybe we'll see how that develops. So we don't have our form set up to where I can give that link right now. But what I can do is to tell folks, if you will go to our blog, which we always mention, blogs.mobilefellows. No, wait a minute. I'm getting mixed up here. Hold on just a second.
It's very close.
Yes, close. blogs.pstcc.edu/mobilefellows. We will have a link in the show notes that takes you to a form to where you could respond to this question. Do you prefer laptops versus mobile devices or mobile devices versus laptops? And why is that the case? You can also drop us an email at dking, that's DKING, at pstcc.edu, or follow us on Twitter, and you can always tweet at us. The handle there is PS_mobs, MOBS. We'll have a couple more episodes where Brandon and I are sitting together in the same studio. That's not going to happen for very much longer because he'll be heading out to California for, I don't want to say the last time. That just sounds so final. But,
for a long time.
For a long time, yeah. But we're going to try to knock out 2 or 3 episodes before he heads out. So you'll see us wearing the same clothes, but you'll be seeing it about a week apart. So don't think that we're just sleeping in our clothes.
Right. We don't work that hard.
Yeah. I think, what did we decide we were going to talk about on the next episode?
We had mentioned Facebook, what is it? Facebook Live
Facebook
video?
Live. Yeah. Because a lot of folks have been looking into Periscope tied to Catch.me, and Catch.me shut down not too long ago, which kind of messes with some academic plans. So we're going to take a look at Facebook Live in our next episode. Look forward to seeing you with us on the next episode of Mobile Talk.